Welcome to this episode of Inside Tulsa Athletics. Today we'll talk about football, we'll talk about basketball, and we'll also talk with our new athletic trainer, and we have two sports writers from the Tulsa World. We'll be back after this. Welcome to this edition of Inside Tulsa Athletics, and today we have a special guest, Barry Lewis of the Tulsa World, lead sports writer. And boy, Barry, what a week to have you on with the breaking news that literally in football, for the first time ever, I think, everybody can go to the playoffs if they want to.
Yes, it's exciting news, and I think it's a great decision because of the cancellations that have occurred, that this gives everyone a fair shot at competing for the state championship. You would have hated to have seen the last playoff spot decided by, and awarded to a team that got it because they got to play one more game than the fifth place team in the district. So I think that's a great move by the OSSAA.
You know, I think this was born 2 or 3 weeks ago out of a discussion with 6A, because it fits 6A with the 16 schools in each of the Division I and Division II. And yet it appeared that when we had cancellations, numerous cancellations throughout all the levels of competition in the OSSA classes, it became something that was fairly logical, I think, on a fairness standpoint.
It seemed like a natural fit in 6A because they have an extra week. They had an open week built into the playoffs. So I was expecting for it to occur in 6A, but I was really surprised they did it with the other classifications, because then that's going to mean, it looks like, extending the season an extra week. And you're getting to a point, especially in a few of the classes, where you're bumping almost into the Christmas holidays.
You know, you are, and of course the smaller schools go long anyway, and that really kind of puts their basketball programs on hold, because the smaller schools have to share athletes.
That is another consideration, because, I mean, even up to the 3A, 4A level, you see a lot of schools where the majority of their top basketball players, or the majority of their starting lineup, they're in football. So that's going to have an effect on football as well as other sports too, like wrestling.
Oh, you bet. Yeah. I think one of the things too, Barry, as I talked to Mike Whaley, who supervises football this morning, he indicated to me that they will lengthen the season based on the rules that are in other sports, that you can play up until the combination of the state tournament. So if we have games of teams that, even if they're eliminated in the playoffs, and they still have a 2 or 3 weeks before the state championship, and have a game that they have not played and would not exceed their 10 games in the regular season, they're going to be allowed to play.
I think that's a great idea. So let's throw out a hypothetical here. Would that mean that, say, that game that was canceled between Rogers and Hale, could that theoretically be played?
Yes. Absolutely, according to what he told me this morning, that because they will not have played their 10 games in the regular season. So I think it's going to be good for football. I think that, like you say, the larger schools will not affect other sports as much as the smaller schools. Well, we've had a pretty good season, given that we have not had a whole lot of cancellations. It seemed like one week we had a rash of them. But who do you like in 6A 1 and 2?
In 6A 1, to me, Owasso is the favorite, the defending state champions, but Jenks is right there too. I think Jenks has a good shot, and not going to count out Broken Arrow. And look out for Union. I mean, people sort of forgot about Union because they started 0-4, but they were only playing the best 4 teams in Oklahoma all on the road. and in the last 2 weeks they're back to being Union. So I think Union could be sort of like Jenks has been the last couple of years, where they lose some games early in the season. All of a sudden, what do you know? Jenks is in the state championship game. So that's very possible for Union. And you look at 6A2, I think it's Bixby and Stillwater and the rest.
Right.
No disrespect to Booker T. Washington, because it looks like Booker T. is back to being Booker T. They've had coming off a couple of impressive victories.
Looking at 5A, Kelly, I guess number one right now and playing pretty well. But is there anybody that can catch them?
In 5A, I think there are several teams that can win the state title. I've got Bishop Kelly ranked number one right now, but there's no way I'm ever going to count out Midwest City Carl Albert, which has won 4 in a row. I mean, to me, it's almost a toss-up for number one between Kelly and Carl Albert. And then Collinsville is having a great season. The Cardinals are ranked third, and I'm never going to count out either Oklahoma City McGinnis. So I think those are the 4 teams to look for in Class 5A.
How about 4A?
4A, Wagner. They have been so dominant. So I think they are a considerable favorite in 4A, but I think Weatherford's right there too. I think there's 4 or 5 teams that could challenge Wagner, but right now, unless Wagner sustains some injuries, or again in 2020 runs into some COVID issues, you can't discount something like that happening. I think Wagner's the clear favorite.
I think you're right, and it's going to be interesting as we get into this latter part of the season and get ready to start basketball, wrestling, and swimming. What effect COVID will have on those sports? Basketball could really be in a mess if we had the traditional vacation times, Thanksgiving, Christmas, where there's large gatherings and so on, where kids could be infected and you could wipe out teams.
Yes, it is a concern. And again, you like what basketball does, and everyone makes the playoffs. And like football is going to do this season, well, you do that every year in basketball. So because you could see there could be some teams when February rolls around that have only played 10, 11 games or maybe fewer.
Right.
I hope that doesn't happen. But in 2020 and almost in 2021, you never know what's going to happen.
Anything could happen. Well, Barry, thank you for being here with us today and sharing your ideas and so on. And when we come back, we're going to have Jonathan Brown, the head football coach at Booker T. Washington.
Which one of these items can be recycled in the city of Tulsa's blue recycling cart? Mini blinds, hanger, plastic bottle. The correct answer is plastic bottle. Plastic bottles and jugs are great for the city of Tulsa's blue recycling cart. But mini blinds and hangers should be thrown away in the gray trash cart. Learn more at tulsarecycles.com.
Being an athlete at Nathan Hills means that you have to be consistent, outgoing, and be dedicated because students at Nathan Hill look up to the football team.
Being an athlete at Nathan Hill has taught me to be confident and disciplined and always to be open-minded and always ready to work with people no matter how difficult it is.
Welcome back to Inside Tulsa Athletics, and now we have Jonathan Brown, the head football coach at Booker T. And Jonathan, boy, 2 great weeks back to back.
Yeah, the boys have been playing very, very well. A lot of energy, a lot of passion, and eliminating turnovers. So that's been the key to our success, and hopefully we'll keep doing that.
The turnovers and the penalties.
Yes,
Yeah.
and that's the one thing. We've been doing a lot more disciplined things in practice as far as like, if you get penalties, you have to run, or extra running, or if you get undisciplined plays, you got to do so many runs. So hopefully that's been paying off, and the guys are focused on not having bad penalties and scoring football.
That's one of the things that I remember when the years I spent at Union. Every Thursday, we would have a guest speaker come in the off season and talk to the football team. And we told them while that guest speaker was there, we wanted to never take your eyes off the person. And they'd walk back and forth. It was all about concentration, snap count. Not jumping off sides. Everything is that concentration. So that's good. That's good that it is making that transition this time of the year.
It definitely is. I'm telling you, Coach. And we started implementing that, about 2 or 3 weeks ago. Just discipline, because I'm trying to change the culture, because I want disciplined athletes and disciplined players, not just on the field, but this is going to carry when they get off the field.
Absolutely.
And so we're just trying to teach them, don't talk in the line, make sure you do the right stretches, and that's going to turn over, hopefully lead to less penalties and actually having a better performance on the field.
What I have noticed, Coach, is I saw the very first game in August until the Sand Springs game. Was a closer knit togetherness of the football team. Really cared about one another. It seemed like they were really coming together as a team.
Yeah, and I think that those injuries, especially with Gentry Williams getting hurt, it kind of knocked the guys back a little bit. But now they understand that we're in this together. I always preach it's us against the world. I always preach that. That's how my old coaches used to always, it's us against the world. And, I'm trying to implement that, and the guys are actually bonding together. We're doing extra with study hall, and then we do extra meeting time. And so it's just been it's been a better family atmosphere, I think, that we have.
That's fantastic. I've always said that through the course of our program, if all we teach a kid to do is to play the game, then we haven't done our job. We're raising them to go on and be successful in life, but being disciplined gives them that opportunity.
Yeah, I think it's going to translate to any walk of life, wherever they go, whether it's in the corporate world, whether it's in the business world, whether it's continuing to play football. You have to have discipline, and you have to continue to understand that not to do anything stupid to jeopardize that. And so I've always said that as I'm a mentor of men, not just on the field but off the field. And I think that's the coaching. That's what your coaching philosophy should be.
You and I are lucky because we get to do something we like every day.
Oh, yeah. I do. Absolutely. I tell my wife every morning, I love where I go.
The very first year I coached was 1969. And I remember getting that first check. And I came in and told my wife, I said, I can't believe they're paying me to do this. Yeah, it's fantastic. Well, you got district play. This is, every game is a playoff game really at this point.
Yeah, it is.
Because it positions you in there. Even with the new format, it's a seeding situation. So let's talk about your upcoming game, and then we got a special one in here about 2 weeks, don't we?
Yeah, we do a real special one. Yeah. So coming up, Ponca City, it's always a tough game when we go to Ponca. They're very well coached. They're always very well coached. They're a hard-nosed football team. And this is just the next person that we have on the schedule, or the next team. And so that's one thing I've been preaching to the guys, is take one game at a time. And we actually have been doing that, since the Sand Springs game. But just taking one game at a time. Don't look past anything. I guess it's been helping us, and hopefully we're ready to go down to Ponca and play well.
Coach Harmon does a good job. I knew his dad well back in the day, and they'll be prepared. They'll be ready to play, and you're playing at their place. Yes. It's always tough to play in Ponca City.
It is.
I can remember vividly my senior year at Rogers. We got tied 27-27. They blocked my extra point, and the guy was across the line before the ball was snapped.
Oh, wow.
No penalty.
No penalty.
It's tough to play in Ponca City.
Yes, it is tough to
play. And I know we don't want to look ahead, but in 2 weeks we'll be playing Bixby in a special game.
Yes, it is very special. You got that. It's going to be on ESPN. And I think that this is going to be something that the boys will love to be a part of. And it's not going to be like on ESPN3 or ESPN.com. It's going to be on ESPNU. A lot of people have that channel.
Absolutely.
And this is just a great thing to promote the program, promote the city, promote what we have going on here in Tulsa. And the boys are ecstatic. I haven't told everybody that yet, because I don't want them to be just forgetting about what we got, because we still got to take care of business with Ponca City.
Absolutely.
And Muskogee's still very good. They're always dangerous down there at the Indian Bowl. But we got some big things planned, and hopefully we could just continue to get better and better in preparation for Bixby.
That'll be fantastic. Yeah. Well, Coach, good luck this week when you go to play the Wildcats, because I know how that is. Yeah. And good luck in 2 weeks. And when we come back, we're going to have Kip Shaw, who's the head football coach at Central High School, tell us about what the Braves are doing this week.
Which one of these items can be recycled in the city of Tulsa's blue recycling cart? glass bottle, string lights, ceramic mug. The correct answer is glass bottle. Glass bottles and jars are perfect for the City of Tulsa's blue recycling cart, but string lights and ceramic mugs should be donated or thrown away in the gray trash cart. Learn more at tulsarecycles.com.
Being an athlete at Booker T. Washington has taught me to carry myself with class as an athlete, student, and friend, and to have responsibility on and off the field.
Being an athlete at Memorial High School has taught me to be a better person, because when you play sports, attitude is the main thing you have to deal with. Not just your own, but other people's. It also teaches you to be the bigger person.
Welcome back to Inside Tulsa Athletics. Now we have the head football coach of the Central Braves, Kip Shaw. Kip, been an up and down year. Got a lot of young kids, but let's talk about your football team.
It's been exciting. It's been different. Like you said, we're really young. And the biggest thing is we've gotten better each week, even though it doesn't show in the win column. But the kids are fighting. It's just been a strange year with everything else that's going on. So it's kind of compounded onto what we're going through. But the mentality and the way the kids are sticking through it and showing a lot of grit and doing everything they need to do to be successful is what I'm excited about.
Well, as you say, young kids have a tendency to get better as the season goes along, and you see that improvement. And, of course, you had a great addition join your football team.
We did. Once KT Owens got his situation cleared up and got eligible, he has been exciting to watch. Like I said earlier, in 2 games, he's thrown for 740 yards and accounted for 9 touchdowns. But it's just the energy and the difference that he brings to the other kids. And they're excited to watch him play, and they're excited to play with him. So it's just overall made us better.
Leadership in that position is important.
Very important, very important. He can, quarterback can make and break you. He's playing safety for us too, so he brings a lot of energy to defense. And it's just been exciting to watch and watch him mature and help our team grow too.
So this week you have Berry Hill?
We have a tough Berry Hill squad who is, they fight you tooth and nail. They're going to be eye back some. They're going to be spread you out some. They're just a hard-nosed, good football team that's going to play hard. They're going to tackle. They're sound. And we have to do the same. We have to improve and hopefully capitalize on the first half of the Verdigers game. We really, really played well, and then hopefully this carries over into this week against Berry Hill.
Well, a little success hopefully breeds success, and they feel how good that is to be ahead.
Exactly.
And be up in the game. We got a little information yesterday about postseason play. I've asked all the football coaches today about this. I think it's one of those things that's fairly unique, because it's never happened before in the state of Oklahoma in football. But how do you feel about everybody qualifying for postseason play?
With the way this year is going, I will say I'm excited about it. It's another opportunity to play, another opportunity for your kids to go out there and compete. You never know, you might play a team that you don't normally see. That'll be exciting. But just giving everybody, with all the canceled games and all the teams that have had to miss 2 or 3 weeks playing, still giving them an opportunity to play due to something that wasn't their fault. This COVID has just been terrible, but this might be a blessing in disguise and something good that's come out of it, at least for football.
I think it is. I think from the standpoint of having the opportunity for more reps with those kids, another week, another 2, another 3 weeks in the season, and being able to make up games up to the 10, exactly. Even after that playoff situation, can't do anything but be better for them. How do you feel about, we moved the junior high football season to February and March this year. How do you feel about that?
I think you had to do it. It's something that's necessary. For us, it gives us an opportunity to kind of concentrate and watch our junior high program grow. Coach Goodman's done a wonderful job with that. It's going to be a little chilly out there in February, but I think, it just to be the varsity coaches can go out there and spend a little bit more time watching our program grow is going to help us when those kids become freshmen and ninth graders, we'll have that relationship. So I'm excited because, when it's during the season, you got to try and fit that time in. You got to make all those junior high games. This is going to physically give my varsity coaches time to go out there and be around those kids and see those kids, develop that relationship that's key to holding our kids into our program.
I think that's really important, that relationship with the coach. You are correct. When you get through the season, it's so difficult to find that night that you can be gone. If it's Thursday night when the junior high plays, you're getting ready for Friday night ball game. If it's Tuesday night, that's your big work day. You got to work hard that day to get what we used to say: if the hay's not in the barn by Wednesday, you're not going to feed any of the cattle.
You're right about that.
That's just kind of how it is. But well, as you get down into the last 4 weeks of district play, how do you feel about your football team?
I feel excited. I'm anxious to see us play this week, and I don't know, it's just something about us that we just keep getting better. The J game scares me because I've noticed they've had to cancel a lot. But right now we know we have 2 weeks. Like I tell the kids, you're only guaranteed the next game. We don't know how this season's going to end up, so we got to take advantage of every opportunity.
I used to tell my kids when they were growing up, I said, you got to play every play like it's the last play you'll ever play, because you never know when it is the last play you'll ever play. But, well, good luck, Coach. I hope things work out this last 3 weeks of the season. And as you go into the playoffs, like everybody will go through the playoffs this year, you never know. Those young kids could get a little bit better during that time. And we certainly hope the Central Braves have a good success and finish up the season.
Thank you.
When we come back, we're going to have Tony Daniels, who is the head football coach of the Edison Eagles.
Which one of these items can be recycled in the city of Tulsa's blue recycling cart? Plastic bottle, cooler, laundry basket. The correct answer is plastic bottle. Plastic bottles and jugs are perfect for the city of Tulsa's blue recycling cart. But coolers and laundry baskets should be thrown away in the gray trash cart. Learn more at tulsarecycles.com.
Being an athlete at Edison High School has taught me to work as a team rather than as an individual. Whenever you're on a team, you have a special bond with each other. You know you can rely on them in a time of need, whether on or off the court. Whether it be a shoulder to cry on or advice on how you can improve, you know your team will always be there for you.
Welcome back to Inside Tulsa Athletics. Now we have the head football coach of the Edison Eagles, Tony Daniels. Tony, interesting season with a young team.
Has been. I think anytime you graduate, even 5A, and I've had it happen before in 3A, but you have 27 that graduate. You have a lot of players that come back that have experience of playing JV, but the fundamentals and stuff like that, and with this pandemic of COVID, with everything else just kind of adding to it, it's just been an interesting season.
And you end up coaching harder when you got younger players and you're not having the success every week that you want to have. But you come off a win this week.
Yes, it was good. 3-hour travel down to Durant. You get down there, we got to stretch back over again, being on the bus, loosen the legs up. But getting out of there, traveling down there, coming away from a big district win for us was good.
That's great. Let's talk a little bit about the news this week, that everybody goes to the playoffs. How do you feel about that?
I'm not really sure, just because I haven't grasped, the biggest thing that we're worried about, obviously, McAllister coming up this week. I think that it could be a possibility where we could win out and we could make the playoffs and still seed somewhere, in the top 4 is what it would be. Mm-hmm. But depending on what happens these last couple of weeks, I think we kind of wrap our arms around that, just kind of see how it unfolds. But maybe to play an additional game, I think would be a bonus for the kids, especially during this time. especially for some of the teams that just haven't been able to maybe play quite a bit.
That's one part of it. I think that's really good. You kind of look at it, having been in the college business for as long as I was, we always looked at an extra week that we spend with our kids, an opportunity to coach those kids one more week before spring practice and so on. One of the other caveats that when I talked to Mike Whaley this morning was that if you had not played your 10 games, you would have the opportunity to go ahead and play 10 games all the way up till the state championship game, which has never been the case in football. Once your last game was over, if you didn't qualify for the playoffs, you were finished. Well, now they're going to allow you to play up until the state championship game. So we had a school that say only played 8 games. They feasibly could play 2 more games during that period of time, which I think is going to be good for the kids to be. It is amazing the impact this has, especially on senior student athletes when they miss games, and like in the spring when they missed a whole season of sports.
Yeah, I think that just like what you just stated, I think it's valuable that you get to, especially with us. We have a couple of freshmen that start for us. We have some sophomores, juniors, and of course some seniors, but to allow those seniors to be able to get their full 10 games, I think is very beneficial. But like you stated, the extra opportunities to get out there with those younger kids, to get some more opportunities to coach them fundamentally is huge for us. For going
more reps
next
you
year.
can get, the more snaps you can get, I think it helps them in the long run and so on. Kind of looking forward to it too, to see how this works. We postponed our junior high football season to February and March. What's your thoughts on that?
Well, I think, we're going to be the only ones playing at that time. A lot more of my high school coaches will be able to get more involved, which is going to be a huge asset to have. So I think that it's going to be pretty valuable. We get all those kids, and we get to be able to coach in the springtime and coach some more football. So we're looking at it like that.
When we looked at that opportunity, I looked at where we were with the COVID and not going to school until the 31st of August, way late, would have put us in a situation, I think, where the season would not have been as meaningful for those student athletes. And now we get an opportunity, to play 6 games there, and like you say, kind of in a fishbowl, because we'll be the only ones playing during that time.
Right.
So we're looking forward to that. Well, McAllister this week. What does McAllister do?
So McAllister is really just McAllister. They've always been really good. Last year with a new coach and Coach Mazey, and knowing that he took over as a head coach, he knew he was going to do great things of getting that program back to where it needed to be. They're big, they're physical. They do some different things on offense that kind of puts the defense in a bind. And they've got players that just are aggressive on defense. So it's something that we're definitely looking forward to, especially with the younger kids that we have to go to La Fortune to be able to play at home, but to be able to suit up against them, which is going to kind of tell us where we're at this late in the season.
You bet. All your kids well?
Yes, everything's
that's great this time of the year.
Yes, it is.
To have everybody well, that's great.
Is.
Well, certainly hope that things work out this week. And after McAllister, who do you have?
So we'll go Rogers and East Central.
Okay.
To finalize the last.
End up in TPS.
Games.
Yeah, there you go.
TPS, that's right.
Well, we will see probably toward the end of the week how this playoff situation is going to develop and what kind of impact it'll have. What I understand basically is that people can opt in and out, and once they get everybody opted in, then they're going to do the seeding either the 2 ways that we talked about earlier. So good luck with the Buffaloes. And when we come back, we're going to have a new trainer, Terrill Jimof. Terrill just joined our staff this week, and he'll talk about athletic training.
Which one of these items can be recycled in the city of Tulsa's blue recycling cart? Air filter, cardboard box, toy car. The correct answer is cardboard box. Paper and cardboard are perfect for the city of Tulsa's blue recycling cart. But air filters and toys should be thrown away in the gray trash cart. Learn more at tulsarecycles.com.
Athletics is so important at Tulsa Central because it's an outlet for some of our kids there. They get a better opportunity to basically give back to our community.
At McLean, the sports is what mainly drives a bunch of the students to come to school every single day and work hard because they want to be able to come from the classroom to the field or the court and show at what they're good at.
Welcome back to Inside Tulsa Athletics. Now we have really the newest member of the TPS Athletic Department staff, Terrill Jimof. And Terrill is a certified athletic trainer.
Yes, sir.
From Tulsa originally.
Yes, sir.
Tell us about your background.
Well, I was born actually in Iowa, Waterloo to be exact. Have no recollection of that place, to be honest. So I moved around a lot. I lived in Minnesota. I've lived in Arizona. I lived in New Jersey. About when I was about 8, I settled into Tulsa. My father got a job, an engineering job here in Tulsa. So that's kind of where I finally made my roots. I grew up, I went to school in Disney Elementary, Walt Disney. I don't know if it's still called that by now.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
So I was originally going to be a TPS kid, but I ended up moving out to Union in about 3rd grade. So I went to Union in 3rd grade, kind of grew up going to Union High School. Played all kinds of sports, played football, played baseball. Baseball was actually my first love until I got cut my sophomore year. So it kind of forced me into playing football, which was a good thing because it led to getting my school getting paid for. Got a scholarship to Northeastern Oklahoma A&M Junior College. I played there for a couple of seasons. Then I transferred to Oklahoma State University where I got my undergrad, and I just kind of focused on academics there.
I see.
And then after that, got my bachelor's in sports management. Had a couple jobs doing ticket sales with a couple professional teams. And I decided to go back to school for my original love, which is athletic training. I went to the University of Central Oklahoma to get my master's degree. I got my master's degree in 2 years, got certified, did for my first job as an athletic trainer at University of Central Oklahoma as a graduate assistant. And then from there, I applied for Tulsa Public Schools, and I got the job, and here I am. So it's kind of, even though I didn't go to school at Tulsa Public Schools, but I guess it's kind of, you could say it's fate that I ended up back here.
You ended up back in Tulsa, and that's great. Well, we're glad you're here.
Thank you.
We've had a tremendous opportunity this year when we added 2 full-time trainers to our program for our kids. Before, we really had a 3,000 to 1 ratio. And Steve was just about running out of gas. Now we have 1,000 to 1 because each of you have about 1,000 kids. But we're looking forward to that. What do you think the biggest impact that you can have as a trainer on student athletes?
The biggest impact is just, I believe I can have on athletic training as far as the student athletes is just making sure they're being seen and being heard as far as like their injuries and anything that they have as far as any musculoskeletal injuries, not just health injuries in general, but also kind of just be like a mentor, someone they can look up to, someone they can talk to if they have issues. If they have issues at home, I can kind of just be like a big brother to them and someone they can come confide to if they have any issues, as well as be able to take care of them and making sure they're getting treatment and making sure they're taking care of their bodies and preparing for Friday nights, and also not just on the turf, but on the hard court or the diamond or whatever field that they present.
Do you think it's an advantage that you were a player?
Absolutely. Being a former student athlete myself, I can relate to some of the things that these kids go through. I know there's a lot of stress as far as some of these kids have big aspirations as far as wanting to play college ball and trying to get on the field and trying to put on good quality tape to get recruited. And I understand that sometimes they want to push through an injury to achieve getting film on tape, but if you're playing hurt, it's possible that you could have bad film, and nothing is worse than having bad film for college guys, because the eye and the sky don't lie. And when they see that film, I mean, that's your resume for some of these.
And they'll pick up that injury. They'll
pick up that injury. So I mean, if you're hurt, come see us, come see me. I'll try to take care of you and get you back on the field as fast as I can in the safest way possible, so you can find a way to achieve your goals and dreams.
Well, that's fantastic, Terrill. I'm glad, and we are glad you're here. I think it's going to be a benefit to our student athletes and to our program. And
Thank you.
You've already been hooked up. You were at the Central game the other night that I was at, I think. And
Yes, sir.
yeah, so
that was a good game.
Yeah, you're right involved. Well, we'll have you back, and when we come back, we're going to have Eli Brown, who's the head basketball coach at Booker T. Washington High School.
Which one of these items can be recycled in the city of Tulsa's blue recycling cart? Mini blinds, hanger, plastic bottle. The correct answer is plastic bottle. Plastic bottles and jugs are great for the city of Tulsa's blue recycling cart. But mini blinds and hangers should be thrown away in the gray trash cart. Learn more at tulsarecycles.com.
I love Will Rogers Athletics because it helped me physically, spiritually, and emotionally through all the journeys I've been through at that school. All of the support staff helped me a lot, and it's just an amazing school.
Athletics at Will Rogers changed my life because it became a second family. With the support of my coaches and teammates, it's helped me gain confidence, work as a team, and will help me in college and in life.
Welcome back to Inside Tulsa Athletics. Now we're going to have a little change. We're going to start talking about basketball because basketball practice has started. And I'm excited to introduce to you the new head basketball coach at Booker T, Eli Brown. Eli,
thank you.
Welcome to Inside Tulsa Athletics and welcome to Booker T. You went to Booker T.
Yes, sir.
So it's not like something new, but it's coming home.
It's coming home, and I'm class of 2000. Coming home is always special. I think when you go back home and coach, you find yourself working a lot harder than you have ever worked because it's home, and you don't want to fail at home. And so I've always worked hard as a coach, but something about being back home that I'm enjoying. The kids have been great, and the staff, my athletic director. I have no complaints about going back so far.
Well, you go into a school with a lot of tradition.
Mm-hmm.
The legacy of the coaching is incredible.
Right.
All the coaches that have come through Booker T, and really excited for you and excited for our program. I know the work that you've done at Central has been really, really good. And now you move into 6A, which is up 2 classes from 4A. How do you feel about that?
Well, when you think about it at the beginning, it can be a little overwhelming. However, I've always, at my time at Central, I've always tried to play up. I've always tried to play 5A schools, 6A schools, scrimmage those schools. And I've already had previous relationships with many of those 6A coaches. And so it's just more of the same as far as I'm concerned when it comes to playing those schools. The Frontier Conference is very physical, very aggressive, very tough. But it also gives me the opportunity to take my style and go against the grain, which is a different style from what the conference is used to. And so it may garner some success. And so we'll see, but I'm up for a challenge. It's an immense challenge, and I'm up for it.
Do you think that'll be an advantage because they haven't seen an offense like yours?
Right, I do. I think it's going to be a good advantage for us because we're fast paced, we're up tempo. I know the average score in the conference is about 52 points a game, and my last few years at Central, we've averaged 73 points a game. Mm-hmm. So it's a mix of styles, and I'm sure with the great coaching that's in that conference, they'll have some things to help try to slow us down, and we've been working on those things and to combat those things, and it's going to be a clash of styles, but it's going to be fun.
Oh yeah, well I think it's kind of like at a different level, but it's kind of like the Green Country.
Right.
Every Tuesday and Friday is a battle,
right?
And you got to be ready to play. And I think in that one, it's just they're just more numbers,
right?
And I would say normally the crowds would be bigger, but this year they may not, because I think what I have gathered from our meetings with the other ADs in the conference, it looks like 25% is what it's going to be within the league. So, but there'll still be exciting games, and there'll still be playoff hopes can be dashed or they can be rectified through that conference. Well, tell me this: as you've had some practice, I know some of your good playmakers are still in football. How does it look so far?
So far, it's been good. The kids are really playing hard and really working hard. They're very attentive, and they listen, and they pick up on things really quickly. So we've been able to get deeper in the playbook already. We've been able to get deeper on the defensive side already. And so it's looking good because of those. It's a lot of kids who can shoot the ball that's in there right now currently. So that's a very good sign for us that there's kids in the gym that can shoot the ball. And so anytime you have kids who can shoot, you always give yourself a chance. And then when you have kids who just play hard, you still give yourself a chance to be competitive. So right now, I love what I am seeing from my players, and I think we will be very, very competitive. I think it'll be exciting. I also think that, it's not to take away from anybody before me, but I want to really instill that Hornet pride in those kids and in that program. And I think that that's what we're doing, and I think we're off to a good start so far.
Good. How many players will you get out of football?
Out of football, 17.
Gee,
17
Christmas.
Players between freshmen and seniors.
Yeah.
I got one senior coming out. The rest are juniors and on down.
Well, I think it's a good thing that kids compete at different levels, different sports. I think it's really important that we give those kids an opportunity.
Right.
They get one shot at sometimes playing before people who pay to play to watch them play.
Exactly.
And that's
exactly.
important. But as you get ready to get into when's your first scrimmage?
November 10th. I'm sorry. We scrimmage Webster, and then we have the Broken Arrow Festival scrimmage on the 14th. Then we have Choctaw coming in on the 21st, and then we go to Dale City and go Dale City Kingfisher scrimmage.
Well, you'll have a good look at your team by that time. Yeah, that'd be great.
And hopefully, we'll be able to fix some bugs and work some things out. And it still won't get worked out with the football guys at that point, but we'll have a good foundation to see where we're at and where we can try to ascend to.
Well, that's great. Well, thanks for being here. We appreciate you, and congratulations on your new job.
Thank you.
And when we come back, we're going to have James Asberry, the head girls basketball coach at Memorial High School.
Which one of these items can be recycled in the city of Tulsa's blue recycling cart? Plastic bottle, cooler, laundry basket. The correct answer is plastic bottle. Plastic bottles and jugs are perfect for the city of Tulsa's blue recycling cart. But coolers and laundry baskets should be thrown away in the gray trash cart. Learn more at tulsarecycles.com.
Welcome back to Inside Tulsa Athletics. Now we have one of our real special coaches. James has been around, been at 3 schools now in TPS, but James Asberry is the head girls coach at Tulsa Memorial High School. James, great to have you.
Oh, thanks, Coach, for having me. I'm glad to be here.
Well, I tell you what, it's about time to get them back in the gym and start playing basketball, isn't it?
Yes, it is. I can't wait. Looking forward to an awesome season this year.
It's your second year. You're building on those stepping stones that you have got to put in when you build a program. Right. How does it look?
Well, it's looking pretty good now. I didn't have any seniors last year, so I'm bringing everyone back. And we had a young group of really talented girls.
They played hard. I remember watching them play 3 or 4 times last year, and they played really, really hard.
They did. They did a really good job of playing hard. Now, this year we're focusing on going back to the basics, going back to fundamentals, and the girls have just bought into everything that I'm teaching them.
Do you have all your kids in the program now?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So you're not waiting for anybody?
Nope. Everyone's here.
When's your first scrimmage?
Our first scrimmage is Saturday. Matter of fact, we're going to scrimmage Noah at Memorial.
Okay. All right. And then after that?
Then we'll go over to Lincoln Christian October the 31st. So we'll have a pre-Halloween party.
Well, as you get ready to play, you play in a league that traditionally has had maybe 1 or 2 pretty good teams in the girls' side. How do you feel about the competition level coming into this year?
Well, this competition level, TPS to me has always been pretty stiff. You know, I like playing in the Green Country Conference. I mean, you look at the top teams, and Rogers will probably be ranked in the top 5 again this year.
Yeah.
East Central's maybe a little bit down this year, and Edison maybe a little bit down, but overall, I think TPS is still a pretty competitive conference.
Got 2 new coaches at East Central and at Edison, and so that'll be a little bit different, maybe a different style of play that you have to prepare for.
Yeah, and we look forward to that. You know, Coach Sweeney is, you know, I know him from playing against him when he was at Jay, and of course at Owasso. Coach Sweeney is a real good coach.
You know, we look forward to basketball season. Looking at this COVID situation, the pandemic that we've been in, and our kids not being in school, how has that affected your practice sessions with not having kids in school on a day-to-day basis?
Oh man, it's really made it. It's been tough. The good thing about this is that you have to all be on the same page with the parents, and we have some pretty good parents that communicate. We got to do a lot of communicating just to make it work. And where we're at is that we just have to be patient, and we have to be understanding, and it's just day by day. Everything is day by day, and we've done a good job at that so far.
You know, I told somebody this the other day. The first football game of the season I went to was Booker T and Del City, and so I'm driving over to S.C. Williams Stadium, and I'm thinking to myself, wouldn't it be nice if all I had to do was worry about going to this game?
Right.
Because every morning you wake up and you wonder, do you have kids infected?
Right.
Do you have coaches infected? Are you going to be able to play the games this week? How are you going to travel? Can you travel to this location, that location, if the infection rate is high, and so on and so forth? You know, I feel good about what our coaches have done. I told Coach Brown earlier today that I think our coaches have done a really good job when you stop and think about the number of games that we haven't had missed, and the number of positive tests that we had. We haven't had a large number like some other districts have had.
Right. Well, you know, Coach, that's a testament to your office, honestly. I think that you guys do a phenomenal job. And the ADs, you know, you guys pass down a lot of information to the ADs, and you know, Coach Dober, our AD, I mean, he doesn't miss a beat. He keeps us informed with everything. So it starts from the top.
Well, I think it's important we take care of our kids. That's the most important thing to me, and the next most important thing is our coaches. That's my 2 responsibilities. I think that we can't ever falter on. And somebody said, well, do you lose any sleep at night? And I said, I'm going to tell you something. I never lose a night's sleep because I know every decision we've made today was best for those kids.
Exactly.
May not be best for me, may not be best for you, but it's for those kids. And these kids only have one chance, you know, to be in this limelight in their life. And 1% of them will be able to go on past this and play at a different level. So we need to make this special. As you get into the season, what tournaments are you going to?
Well, our first tournament, we'll be going to the Asberry tournament. Don't know a whole lot about it. This will be our first year in the Asberry tournament. And then we go, our next tournament will be at the first of the year, and we'll be going to Bartersville tournament, which is generally a tough tournament because we got all the 6A teams.
Yes.
And our last tournament that we will be participating in is the Fort Gibson tournament, and that's really a stiff competition. Yeah,
that'll be tough.
But we're looking forward to this year.
Fort Gibson's had a really good program, and they'll put on a great tournament. Well, I tell you what, good luck this year. I'm glad you were able to stop by with us today. And when we come back, we'll have Bill Haisten, columnist for Tulsa World Sports.
Which one of these items can be recycled in the city of Tulsa's blue recycling cart? Glass bottle, string lights, ceramic mug. The correct answer is glass bottle. Glass bottles and jars are perfect for the city of Tulsa's blue recycling cart. But string lights and ceramic mugs should be donated or thrown away in the gray trash cart. Learn more at tulsarecycles.com.
Being an athlete at Edison High School has taught me to work as a team rather than as an individual. Whenever you're on a team, you have a special bond with each other. You know you can rely on them in a time of need, whether on or off the court. Whether it be a shoulder to cry on or advice on how you can improve, you know your team will always be there for you.
Welcome back to Inside Tulsa Athletics, and now we have a sports columnist for the Tulsa World and a good friend, Bill Haisten. Bill, glad you're on ITA here today, and lots going on in the world of sports these days, and sometimes not a lot is going on.
That's
it kind of depends on where you are, but from your perspective, having been a 30-year veteran of this business and so on, how difficult has it been to keep the perspective of athletics at the high school and college level in a sense that people still want to read about it because of all the other things that are going on?
Well, if you want a good, and you of all people know this, but if you want to get a feel for how important football is to people, now in some states pulled the plug pretty early, months ago, and said, we're not playing football this year. Thankfully, Oklahoma found a way. But you know this, that there's never been a greater collective effort just to try to get something done, just to try to get teams on the field ever, and with unprecedented challenges and circumstances, right? I mean,
yeah.
I've never had a mask on my face in my life, and now it's just I never don't have a mask with me. So no, I mean, no, the public's appetite for the information and the games hasn't waned at all. It's just, you know, we have to go about it differently now. I have been in the stadium now for 4 games this season, and that is it. Now that's a weird layer to this for media. Now Barry Lewis is able to be in a stadium every weekend, but I've only been to 1 OU game, 1 Oklahoma State game, 1 game at Rogers, and 1 game at Bixby, and that is it. And typically by this time, I would have been to 12 games, maybe 14 games, including some high school games.
Well, I know when I talked to you on Saturday, I said, "Are you off today?"
Yeah.
I mean, you know, that's
that's because it was the first time in 79 years that we didn't have an October Saturday in Oklahoma without a game involving the Sooners, the Cowboys, or the Golden Hurricane. First
amazing.
time since 1941.
I think you're right too, Bill, because I think there's been a lot of work that's done to make our kids safe to be able to continue to play. I'm on a consortium call once a month with multi-school athletic directors from around the United States, and it's interesting. My counterpart in San Diego, they have played no sports in San Diego, and they're at a point now because of their relationship with the teacher union that they're not coming back until they get ready to come back. They're looking at playing AAU football, having outside coaches come in just to have football, and starting in the middle of November to have those programs. So people are hungry for those kind of competitions. Fully padded tackle, 11-man football in San Diego. So when you get a perspective, when you talk to people around the country, you know how fortunate we are where we are to be able to work toward what we've achieved thus far.
Well, I heard you mention to Barry that we've had relatively a low number of cancellations. Now, I think it's been a little more extreme on the west side of the state, maybe it feels like. But it just feels like everybody in the Tulsa area has done their absolute best to manage unprecedented circumstances and to get most of these games played.
Well, you know, all the games that we've played, we've only missed 2. Edison and Hale both have missed a game. Well, Rogers has missed a game, so 3, I guess. But you know, when you look at that, we have 9 games a week. And we're in week 7 now. So I think what we've got to look at as we move into the playoffs now, because it concerns me, as we mentioned earlier, we have these holiday vacations coming up, with the Thanksgiving and Christmas, that we can keep our kids safe as we move into the winter sports season.
No, that's right. I mean, this last 7 months has required, you've had to ask of these kids, once again, I use the word unprecedented, discipline and restraint.
Yeah.
And I mean, high school seniors or older teen kids, I mean, what do they typically do in the summertime? They go to parties, they go to the swimming pool. Well, they do. You
Sure.
did and I did.
Absolutely.
I mean, that's what you do. But except a lot of them, I talked to Bryce Thompson before he went to Lawrence, before he reported to Lawrence for the start of his freshman year at KU. And he said basically he was a recluse. He stayed home all summer. He did not go to pool parties. He did not do socially what he typically would have done, because he said, I have a responsibility to be healthy, to get to KU and to be healthy and available for those coaches.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think for so many of these athletes, this has required an uncommon discipline for these young people and for the coaches and everybody else. I mean, if you want to play ball, I mean, that's been the message for months. If you want to play ball, then you got to, unfortunately, you got to put one of these on, and you've got to think about where you are and who you're around and what you're doing.
Bill, one of the major concerns that I've had basically is from an academic standpoint. When we're in distance education and we don't have that one-on-one in the classroom, eyeball to eyeball with these student athletes, I think we've been fortunate that our coaches, we instituted mandatory study hall 2 weeks ago. Where you give up a practice, and for that practice you give up, it's 2 hours and the head coach is looking at that Chromebook to see what that student has done that week, or the position coach is doing that, and because the emphasis we got to have is to graduate students from high school. That's the big thing.
Yeah.
So it's been a collective bargaining. Well,
I don't think though, Gil, on March 11th, when the Thunder game got canceled and the NBA was suspended that night. And the next day, I don't know that you knew when you went to bed that night what you were going to confront or be confronted with that next day. I don't think any of us could really wrap our mind around what was coming at that time.
I knew at 12 o'clock on the 12th that I called the Activities Association and said that we weren't playing in the state tournament. I told them that. Well, Bill, thanks for being here today. These are exciting times. And we'll be right back with the close of Inside Tulsa Athletics.
Which one of these items can be recycled in the city of Tulsa's blue recycling cart? Battery, steel can, thermos. The correct answer is steel can. Aluminum and steel cans are great for the city of Tulsa's blue recycling cart. To dispose of e-waste like batteries, contact the city of Tulsa. Learn more at tulsarecycles.com.
Thank you for joining us today inside Tulsa Athletics. We had a great day. Talked about good football, good basketball, athletic training. Had 2 sports writers on from the Tulsa World. Great friends of this institution. One thing I want to remind you, stay safe. We'll be playing basketball indoors before long, and what we're looking at is 25% capacity, so you'll have to buy tickets early. Stay safe until we see you next time, which will be in 2 weeks. Go TPS.